When first-time parents Brooke and Jim learned they were pregnant, they were obviously thrilled. This was the baby they had been waiting for. But an ultrasound scan midway through the pregnancy revealed a terrifying situation.
Jim and I have been married for 7 years, and we were married when we were 26.
And when we turned about 30 years old, we wanted to start to have some kids.
We were pregnant for the first time. We were about 6 weeks, and they did an ultrasound, and there was no heartbeat. It was very painful. We were pregnant again for the second time. We went in for another ultrasound. I had lost that baby as well.
So when Brooke became pregnant for the third time, we were very excited. And we finally reached our mid-pregnancy ultrasound, which was at 20 weeks.
We could see him moving around, and we were just over the moon.
We found out that we were having a little boy.
And then at the very end of the ultrasound, they said there was possibly something wrong. They sent us to a genetics counselor, and she told us that he was missing his arms past the humerus down.
We burst into tears, and I did the best I could to comfort Brooke and just keep telling her everything's gonna be okay.
You instantly run your child's future in your mind, and so we did start researching prosthesis right away.
We both knew that no matter what, this baby was ours. We're gonna love him.
There were moments where I would hold my belly and kind of sob and just wish he had at least one hand. I felt like I could protect him while he was still in the womb. I didn't want anyone ever to make fun of him. It's always hard. At the end of the pregnancy, they still were like, well, we're gonna wait till he comes out to see if he'll even survive.
6 pounds, 13 ounces, there he is.
When he came out, I just knew he was okay.
We saw his beautiful arms, we saw his beautiful face. He was screaming, and we were just beside ourselves.
Buddy?
He was pink, he was healthy, he was crying, he was perfect.
And here to show us that optimism will get any family through almost anything, our dad, Jim, mom, Brooke, and their beautiful son, Jameson.
He is so cute.
He is,
Look at you, buddy.
he is so handsome. And I'm sure you, like other mothers, were trying to figure out what happened, why. I know that we've associated sometimes these things with something called amniotic band syndrome, but has your doctor attributed it to anything?
They don't believe it's amniotic banding because it's so symmetrical, but there is a possibility. They can't say for sure because they didn't find any evidence of the bands in the placenta. They just, so far, have told us it's a fluke, and we may never know why.
You know, and I know it. Having my parents actually had a baby born that wasn't normal, and something I try to express to parents when they find out the news that being put in that situation, even though you certainly didn't choose it, it's going to make you into a better parent than you normally would have been.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you tired?
I have to imagine as a father, you're thinking, okay, Vision throwing the football, throwing the baseball. Wait, maybe I can still do some of these things, but it's not going to be the normal path.
Right. And I think, you know, what we've come to learn through prosthetics is, man, you can do anything. They make prosthetics for baseball. They make prosthetics for basketball. You can YouTube it. It's anybody's on there doing anything you can imagine.
You know, speaking of prosthetics, sometimes there's a choice whether to let the child grow up learning to use his body the way it is, adapting, or using prosthetics. And you guys decided to do prosthetics. And, kind of what led you to that decision?
Because he's missing both hands, he's going to need prosthetics for certain tasks. He's just going to need them. There's some things he's not going to be able to do. But at the same time, you know, you want to let kids be kids and you know, run around and be free. And
and I think that's a choice that we're blessed to be able to make in today's medical environment. And while Jameson reads his book After the break, we're going to talk about what Jameson's life might be like 10 years from now. What hope do prosthetics offer? Stick around.
These are electrodes, and in an adult, they have active control of their muscles, and they can actually open and close a hand by 2 different sites. While Jameson, when we first fit him with his myoelectrics, we'll just use one.
We're back with Brooke and Jim and their 10-month-old son, Jameson, who was born with no elbow or forearm. His condition is called congenital transradial amputee. We also have joining us Jameson's prosthetist from Advanced Arm Dynamics, Mac Lang. Mac, thank you for joining us. Now, everyone here in the audience, as well as us, we watched during the break as Brooke and Jim put the prosthesis on Jameson's arms. What are those prosthetics that Jameson has on right now?
He has 2 passive prostheses, which means they don't have any active motion in themselves, so he doesn't control them other than just kind of moving them around. So Jim and Brooke have to position the elbow and also, open up the hand to put something in and out of them, but allows him to put something in his mouth, which he always starts. That was the first thing he did. He put something right in his mouth.
Yes, just like any other kid would, that's working perfectly. Now, usually when we talk about prosthetics, it's because somebody has lost an arm and now has to relearn how to use a prosthetic. But he's learning this for the first time. How is that going to be different?
Well, he's actually at an advantage. He doesn't have to relearn anything. He's learning how to use prosthetics as he goes. I mean, initially it's very just passive and play-based, but I have a 5-year-old who's in Spanish immersion, and I liken it to that, is that he's learning 2 languages at once. He doesn't have to learn prosthetics or learn how to use his arms. He learns both.
And Mac, I'm just looking at this whole array of really cool stuff.
Sure.
This is kind of the future for Jameson, huh?
This is a brand new product that's out. It's actually for throwing a baseball with a prosthesis, not with a sound arm. This one right here is an adapter that can actually go into one of these arms. This is a swim fin that obviously this has some electronics to it, so you wouldn't want to take this swimming.
Right, but that's what this paddle is.
Right, they call this the big kahuna.
Okay.
But yeah, these are all just attachments that go into these, and this is an activity-specific prosthesis. So this is for someone, if you don't have to make a prosthesis look like an arm, you can make it look like anything you want to, and then you can really put anything into it. Why limit yourself to something that can only do what a hand-like prosthesis can?
And I'm curious, how soon is Jameson, is he going to get actually a functioning myoelectric limb like this
Like
here?
that? This is actually an adult-sized hand, but what, you can see it start to move. These are electrodes, and in an adult, they have active control of their muscles, and they can actually open and close a hand by 2 different sites. While Jameson, when we first fit him with his myoelectrics, we'll just use one. So he'll be able to open it, and then it'll close by itself.
Okay.
It won't grip so hard that he can hurt himself or someone else. But again, give him the idea that he can control a hand and then put something into it so that Jim and Brooke don't have to do it for him.
There is a part to this that we have to face the reality with. He's going to need prosthetics as he grows. So you've actually started some fundraising to help offset the cost of this. So he's going to be using bigger and bigger arms as he goes along. And if you are watching right now and you want to help out Jameson's family in terms of his future needs, you can visit thedoctorstv.com to make a donation. And this is truly an expensive road ahead. To help get you all started, Advanced Arm Dynamics, they're going to cover the out-of-pocket expenses for Jameson's first pair of myoelectric arms.
Oh, man.
So that is taken care of by Mac and his team. And we look forward to some updates when Jameson gets that myoelectric arm and he's playing around, and we would love for you all to keep us updated on his progress. And stick around, we'll be right back.